Over the last few weeks I've been cycling abroad in places like Mallorca and Italy, but now I'm back in the UK, things are really different. The main difference I've noticed is the riding itself. It just feels that little bit harder, and I'm really wondering why. When I think about it, it's all a bit odd because literally only a few days ago I was out in Italy riding 50, 60, 70 kilometre rides and climbing up mountains and feeling perfectly fine. So it's a bit of a mystery why when I come back to the UK it just feels so hard. The obvious thing that springs to my mind is the fact that I'm now riding on my own. When you're riding with somebody else, not only have you got a wheel to follow, and that kind of gives you a focus and takes your mind off how hard it is cycling, but it's also actually a lot easier because that person in front is not only shielding you from the wind, but you're also riding in their slipstream. So it's that wind that you feel when something passes you, and it's actually dragging you along. And they reckon that sitting behind somebody will save you up to 30% of your own energy. Could also be down to the bike that I'm riding. The more eagle-eyed of you may have noticed that I'm riding my Cannondale, and this is only the second ride that I've done on it this whole year actually, and only the third ride that I've done since I've been back from my last foreign trip, which was Italy a couple of days ago. Now the bike itself could be just a different geometry, and it's certainly been the case because I've had to adjust the saddle or the saddle height so that it matches the higher bikes that I was riding out in Spain and in Italy. Basically I've had to lower the saddle a little bit, and now it feels pretty comfortable. So I'm not sure it's the actual bike fit. The bike itself is, you know, an endurance model, and it feels pretty good to ride. I did have a little bit of a technical issue, let's say, when I first got the bike out. Basically the headset had seized, and I took it up to my friend Steve at Bike Fixers, who very kindly fixed it for me. Thank you, Steve. I'll leave a link to his Bike Fixers website in the description below. But yeah, it could be that the bike's just a little bit heavier. Yeah, it could be anything really. I'm not a great believer in the bike itself being the issue. I think the issue is actually other things that's making the ride difficult. I've chosen today is my Bevis's Thumb route, and I've chosen that because it's a nice long steady climb. I know it very well and as such it's a very good kind of test and indicator of how I'm feeling and my general fitness levels. Now I'm actually at the top. I've had a little while to recover, and I would say that that feels slightly harder than it would usually, but then that could also have something to do with the fact that I am trying something slightly different today, which is riding with a slightly lower cadence of about 80 revs per minute in a slightly higher gear. So I'm trying to use my strength rather than my cardiovascular fitness. So yeah, who knows? Another reason could be the weather, of course. Here in the UK at the moment, it's about 18 degrees Celsius, and yep, you can see the sun shining, and it's only the third time I've been wearing short kit here in the UK. I started when I got back from Italy a couple of days ago, but the weather over in Italy, although we did have some rain, was generally a lot warmer at about 30 degrees Celsius, and the weather over in Mallorca was fantastic as well at about 24 degrees Celsius. And I'm not sure it's the wind either, because the wind in Mallorca and Italy was pretty bad, and the wind here today, although I can feel it, it's not any worse than what I've had over the last couple of weeks abroad. Now, psychological factors could be coming into play here. When I was away in Mallorca and Italy, I was riding with other people, which meant that we all agreed to meet at a certain time and go out and do the rides. And now I'm home, I don't have that commitment. So it's basically up to me to motivate myself to get out of bed, get the bike ready and do the rides. And when you're on your own, again, that's not very easy. Plus it could be the fact that I'm riding on home roads. I know how they are, I know how hard they are, or how easy they are sometimes. And when I was away, although I knew the roads a little bit, I wasn't quite familiar with them as I am with these. So I didn't really know 100% what to expect from them, or indeed myself. The great thing about this Bevis's thumb route is that once you've done the climb and gone down over the other side, the route back is a nice gentle descent with an average gradient maybe of about 1% for, I would guess, 5 or 6 kilometers. The disadvantage though is that it can get a little bit busy. Seeing the cafe there in Rowland's Castle reminded me of something that I neglected to factor in earlier, and that was the rides we did out in Mallorca and Italy all had refreshment stops. After about 25-30 kilometers, 35 kilometers, we'd stop at a little cafe somewhere, have a quick drink, something to eat, and just having that little rest and refueling stop is probably very beneficial. But today I'm just doing a quick ride round. I'm only 32 kilometers in at the moment, so a little way to go yet. I don't know if I'm imagining things or not, but today it seems like my strategy of riding in a slightly higher gear with a lower cadence is kind of paying off. I'm noticing that the little climbs I'm doing today are just that little bit easier than the flats. And the reason I'm trying this strategy is because I know that my legs are fairly strong. I mean, heaven knows they've got enough muscle on them. The thing that lets me down, of course, is that I'm trying to lug a load of weight up those climbs as well. So I think while I've been away, I must have developed a bit of strength going up those mountains and everything. It's just the flats that I'm having trouble with at the moment. There we go, that's today's ride, done and dusted. 40 kilometres and 320 metres of climbing in the Bank of Fitness. At least the weather's improved here in the UK and I can now wear short kit. I wasn't able to do that even 2 weeks ago. So yep, hopefully it can only get better from here.